Today I'm going to tell you a folk tale. A folk tale is a story that has been told by mouth and handed down through generation after generation. So that means that maybe a great grandma started to tell this story, and she told it to her child, and her child told it to their child, and their child told it to their child, and they just kept telling the story year after year after year to generation after generation, so kids after kids after kids, and it became such a famous story that everybody knows what it is, and everybody tells it now. So I'm going to tell you the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, and I'm not going to just tell you it by my mouth, by just telling you the story. I'm going to tell you by a flannel board. And so that means I made all of these characters out of flannel material, and I colored them and I cut them out so that I could tell the story to you that way instead of reading you a book or just talking through a story. So this is another way you could tell a story. It's a very fun way to tell a story. So this is called Jack and the Beanstalk. It's a very old folk tale. You might have heard of it before, and if you haven't, great, I hope you enjoy it. So once upon a time, there was a young boy named Jack and his mother, and they lived by themselves in a small cottage. Well, Jack and his mother were very poor, and that means they didn't have a lot of money. So the mother asked Jack to take their cow and take it to the market and see if he could sell it so that he could get some more money and they could buy some food, because they were getting very hungry. So Jack gave his mom a kiss, and he took the cow and he started to walk down the street with the cow to the market where he was going to sell the cow. Well, as he was walking down the street, he ran into an old man. And the old man had a long brown coat on, and he kind of had long scraggly hair. And the man said, "What are you doing, young lad?" And Jack said, "Well, I'm going to the market. I'm going to try to sell my cow. My mom and I really need the money." And the old man said, "Well, that's a very fine cow, and I would really like to have that cow, but all I have here in my hand are these special beans. I don't have any money, but I have these special beans." Well, Jack really was curious about these special beans. That means he really wanted to know what those special beans were all about. So he decided that he would trade the cow for the beans instead of money. So he gave the cow to the man, and the man gave Jack the special magical beans. "Thank you so much, sir. Well, I'm very excited for you to have these magical special beans. Good luck, son." "Thank you, sir. Bye, have a great day." And off they went. The old man took the cow, and Jack went home to his mom. Well, he was so excited when he ran in the door. Mama, guess what? I took the cow down to the market, and I didn't quite get to the market. On my way, I met a man, and the man took the cow, and he gave me these magical special beans." Well, when the mother heard that Jack didn't get to the market, and he didn't sell the cow, and he didn't get any money, she was very angry. And she yelled at Jack, "Jack, I cannot believe you did this. I asked you to take the cow to the market to get some money, and instead you come home with these silly beans." And she took the beans out of his hand, and she threw them out the window, and she sent Jack to bed without his supper. Oh, poor Jack. He felt really bad. He went to sleep, and he woke up the next morning, and he looked out his window, and do you know what he saw? He saw a ginormous, humongous beanstalk growing right out his window. And that beanstalk went high up into the clouds. Well, Jack was curious. That means he wanted to know what that beanstalk was all about and where that beanstalk was going to go. So he jumped out of his window while his mama was still sleeping, and he decided he was going to climb up that beanstalk and see what was at the very top. So he climbed, and 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 it took him a really long time to get all the way up the beanstalk, all the way up into the clouds. But do you know what he found at the very top? Well, I'm going to show you. He found a humongous castle at the very top of the beanstalk. Well, Jack was curious. He wanted to know who lived in the castle way up in the clouds. He had never even heard of such a thing. So he decided he would go into the castle and he would knock at the door. He knocked. Wow. Pretty soon, a big giant answered the door. "Hello," she said. "Who are you?" "Well, I am Jack. I came all the way up this really big beanstalk and I don't know where I am." "Would you like to come in and have some soup?" "I would love to come in and have some soup," said Jack. "Well, come on in." So Jack followed the giant into the kitchen where he sat down and he had the most delicious bowl of soup he had ever had in his life. But as he was eating the soup, something happened. All of a sudden, it was like thunder and the ground was shaking and he heard somebody say, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." Wow. The giant woman told Jack he should probably hide. Her husband, the giant, was coming into the kitchen and he couldn't find Jack here. So Jack hid very well. And the giant came to the kitchen and he said, "I think somebody is here." And the giant woman said, "Oh, no, nobody is here. Sit down and eat your soup for supper. And while you're eating, I will get you your magic harp." "Well, all right," said the giant. And he sat down to eat his soup. And his wife brought him his magic harp. And this magic harp was very special because it played all by itself. And everybody knows that people actually need to strum the chords for a harp to play. But not this harp. This was a magical harp. It played by itself and it sang while it was playing. And while the giant was eating, he suddenly got very, very tired from listening to the beautiful harp music. And he fell asleep and he started to snore. Wow, when he fell asleep, Jack came out of his hiding spot and he was going to leave the castle, but then he thought, that magic harp might be worth some money. If I took that harp down with me, I might be able to sell that harp and get some money for me and my mama, and then we could buy some food. So he tiptoed over and he picked up the harp and he took it with him down the beanstalk. And the giant never even woke up. Well, Jack went to sleep. He was so tired from his adventure up in the castle, up in the sky. But the next day, when he woke up, he decided that he was going to climb that beanstalk again and see what happens. So he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed. And when he got to the top, he decided to knock on the door of the castle again. Well, the giant woman answered the door again, and she saw Jack standing there. "Oh, no, she said. "Nope, my husband was very mad. When you left yesterday, his harp went missing too. You cannot be here. You have to go back home." And she closed the castle door. Well, that didn't stop Jack. Jack decided he was going to get in that castle anyway, so he snuck in through a window. And he hid again in the kitchen. Well, the giant woman was very busy. She was making beef stew for supper. And pretty soon, it was like the ground was shaking and thunder was happening in the sky. The big giant came home. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." "Oh, you don't smell anything but the delicious beef stew that I made for supper. Sit down, eat your stew, and you know what? While you're eating, I'm going to get you your pot of gold, and you can count all the gold in your pot. Here, have your beef stew." And while he was eating the beef stew, he counted all of the gold in his pot and he ran his fingers through the gold in the pot. And he was having such a good time, but he was so tired that he fell asleep again. And he started to snore. Well, the second he started to snore, Jack came out of his hiding spot. He tiptoed over to the gold and he thought to himself, "If I take this gold down to where my mom is in her house, we might be able to buy even more food with this gold. We really need he took the gold pot and he went down the beanstalk and he brought it home. And the giant never even woke up. It's crazy. Well, the next day, Jack decided he would go back up the beanstalk again. He's very, very brave boy for doing that again. I'm not sure I would have done that again. And he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed. And he knew he couldn't knock at the door because the giant woman wasn't going to let him in. So he went through the window again, and he hid again, very quietly. And the giant woman was busy making her supper again. She was making another stew when all of a sudden the ground was shaking and thunder happened, and here came the big giant again. Do you guys remember what he said? Can you say it with me? Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Wow. The giant woman said, you don't smell anything but another wonderful stew that I've made you, darling. Here, eat your stew, and while you eat your stew again, I'm going to go get your special chicken who lays the golden eggs. Here's your stew. And she went and she got the chicken, and the chicken laid a golden egg. Jack couldn't even believe that there was a chicken that could lay a golden egg. So he waited quietly while the giant was petting the chicken, and pretty soon that giant fell asleep again. And Jack came out and he tiptoed over and he decided he should take the chicken, because if the chicken could lay golden eggs, they could sell the golden eggs at the market and get lots of money. Good job remembering, guys. So he went over and he picked up the golden egg and he picked up the chicken. But, oh no, when he picked up the chicken started to go bark, 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 and it woke up the giant. Hey, what are you doing with my chicken? Stop! And he started to chase Jack down the beanstalk. Well, Jack ran as fast as he could, all the way down. But the giant wasn't very far behind him. Jack didn't know what to do. He put the chicken away, and he got an axe, and he started to chop, 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 chop that beanstalk until the beanstalk fell. Ah! And the giant fell too, and they never saw him again. Well, Jack's mom had no idea what Jack had been doing, but Jack was very excited to tell her. Mama, 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 look at what I got. I got some things we could sell at the market, and I got some gold coins, and now we'll have enough money for food. And I'm so sorry that I took those magic beans. I promise never to do something like that again. Oh, Jack, it's okay. And I'm so excited that you found all these things. We'll definitely take them to the market. And they gave each other a big hug. What did you think about our folk tale today, guys? You know what you could do today? You could do a little research and see if you could find other folk tales that have been told from generation to generation, from grandmothers to granddaughters to great-granddaughters, and on and on and on. See if you can find some folk tales today. And if you find some folk tales, let me know. I would love to hear more folk tales. Have a great day, guys. Bye.